Jordan Trimble, President and CEO at Skyharbour Resources. We also have Serdar Donmez. He's the VP of Exploration. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Great to see you. Great to be here.
Yeah, we've done this before. Let's do it again, shall we? We'll get an update.
Absolutely.
We'll start with you, and you can pass it off to Serdar. Lots going on, as always, with Skyharbour. You've got the co-flagships, Russell Lake, Moore Lake, drilling there, the partnerships as well. So why don't you start with the flagships and what you've been doing there?
Yeah, so we're just wrapping up what will be our largest annual drill campaign we've ever carried out, approximately 16,000 meters. Split about equally between the two projects, a little more drilling at Russell, but we did a fair bit of work at Moore Lake. We're just wrapping that up, actually. Very, very excited with the news flow that'll be coming up. All the assays pending. So this is now going to be a very busy 3 to 6 months as far as catalysts, as far as the results coming out. In the summer, as you may recall, we announced a very meaningful drill result, step out hole up to 5%, almost 5% over 1.5 meters. That was a 40-meter step out at our Moore Lake project. I'll let Serdar talk a bit more about the significance of that and the importance of it as it pertains to the drilling that we've just finished and we're just wrapping up, and the drilling going into next year. And then at Russell, it's a big project, right? So we've been drilling numerous targets. We're following up as well on a high-grade intercept that we discovered, announced last year at the Fork target. We think we're onto something much larger there, but there's a number of other targets at the project. It's a big property, well over 70,000 hectares, strategically located on one of the most prolific exploration corridors in the Athabasca Basin. So a lot of drilling at our two co-flagship projects, but we also have a whole bunch of additional drilling from various partner companies. We've got 9 partner companies now exploring and advancing 13 of our 37 projects. These companies, assuming they complete their respective earn-in options, will have spent over $70 million in combined project consideration, about half of that in exploration, the other half in cash and in share payments directly to Skyharbour. This year was the most significant partner-funded combined drill campaign and exploration campaign, in that these partners ended up drilling about 12 to 13,000 additional meters at various other projects, led by one of our strategic partners, which is France's largest nuclear fuel company, uranium mining company, Uranium. They ended up drilling approximately 6,000 meters at our Preston project, and a number of the other smaller partners carried out drill programs with plans to follow up later this year and in the new year. So maybe Serdar, if you want to talk a little bit about specifically the drilling at Moore that we announced this summer, and the drilling that will be coming, that we will be announcing at Russell.
For sure. So Moore Lake, we announced last year we had that high-grade intersection, 43-meter step-out hole to the northeast, where we thought it had been cut off, the high-grade mineralization at Maverick. So, which it's significant because it opens up new possibilities. You know, these things are pearls on a string kind of analogy. So if we keep stepping out and finding more of these high-grade pods, we can add to the resource at Moore Lake. So that's been one of the focus areas that we've been drilling in, and we've also stepped out along strike, kind of 2 kilometers to the southwest, and we started seeing really interesting alteration. And we continued drilling, so we added more meters at Moore Lake southwest, what we're calling the Nomad zone now, and more targets to the northeast. Drilling really interesting stuff, good structure, good alteration, elevated geochem and uranium. So we've been pretty excited at Moore Lake this year. Russell Lake, massive land package with 73,000 hectares, located in elephant country. You have MacArthur to the north and Key Lake to the south, and adjacent to the west, the Phoenix deposit. But there are many targets on that project. It's fun, but it's because you actually have to decide which one to drill. Mm-hmm. And but we've been focusing on following up on high-grade intersections on the property, which was announced last year at Fork Zone up to 3%. And Fox Lake Trail is another zone, and MZE. But there are also other trends that haven't received any work, modern work, since the 80s or the 70s on the project, that had uranium mineralization. So while we're drilling, testing these really prospective targets like Sphinx and Grayling, we're also advancing these other targets for future drilling. So we're going to be doing some more modern geophysics on these target areas and following them up next year with some more drilling, hopefully.
And will next year's programs be bigger than this year's in terms of the meters drilled, or?
We're gonna, once we get all the results in, we'll make that decision. I would think so.
Yeah.
You know, just given what we're seeing, you know, at Russell and at Moore, you know, we're making great headway at both projects. You know, Moore Lake being almost more of a resource delineation story now with the high grade Maverick, several zones of mineralization. Keep in mind too, it's shallow mineralization. So this is, and predominantly sandstone hosted. So this is interesting when you look at it through the lens of one of the two surface mining methods, either ISR or Sabre. You know, it's a project with mineralization that, again, relatively shallow mineralization that could potentially be conducive to one of those two mining methods down the road. So it is in our best interest to try to prove up as much as we can, as quickly as we can there. But, you know, as Serdar mentioned, we've got now additional targets along strike in the other direction to the southwest, and some really interesting new zones of mineralization and alteration that we're discovering there just in the last few months. And over at Russell, I mean, look, you know, last year we felt, you know, there was a breakthrough with that high grade discovery at the Fork Zone. Like I said, we believe we're onto something much larger there. And we've also been drilling just on the north end of the project in an area called the Fox Lake Trail, and very exciting what we found there. Again, all these assays are still pending, numbers to come out, but it's really very much setting the stage for a much larger program next year, following up on all the work that we've done the last couple of years in both projects.
And Serdar, can you speak to the strategic location of Moore and Russell Lakes and the target types as well?
Sure. I mean, I've mentioned this before. I've spent a big chunk of my career at Wheeler River. You know, I was there before the discovery of the Phoenix and the Griffin deposit. So I know these the trends. These are large conductive trends. A lot of fluid movement along them, and these trends continue onto our Russell Lake project. Geologically, it's you know, we focus on those trends because chances of you finding more uranium is quite high. And Moore Lake, again, you know, Maverick deposit is fairly shallow. It's less than 300 meters from surface. And then at Russell Lake, you have all the infrastructure, the power line and the haul road that runs along the western edge of the Russell Lake project. So it's if you find something and it's being so close to the Phoenix deposit, which could become the Phoenix uranium mine soon, it could be it doesn't have to be a massive 300 million pound deposit. It could be 50, 100 million pound deposit that can become a mine fairly quickly using the ISR method, or in the case of Maverick, you know, as Orano and Denison advance the Sabre method, and the uranium continues, the price of uranium continues its upward trend, it could look very different in 5 years from now. So,
right.
Yeah, and you know, just to add to that too, if you look on a map, Russell and Moore, it's one big block of ground, perfectly situated in really, you know, prime real estate in the eastern side of the Athabasca Basin. So you've got the McArthur River mine and the project area adjacent to the north. You've got the Key Lake Mill and the project around the mill, that's again Cameco, to the south and southwest. And then if you look at on the western flank of Russell, you talked about Wheeler River, right? And you know, Serdar joining our team was huge, because Serdar spent, as he mentioned, most of his time at Denison, at Wheeler, so knows those rocks very, very well. We have all the ground to the north, to the east, and to the south of Wheeler, and actually Russell's about 5 times the size of the Wheeler project, right? So there's the potential for multiple discoveries, multiple deposits to be found on that project. And then you've got Orano as well, and this I think gets lost. Orano's got ground in the area. In fact, there's a little sliver of claims, a donut hole, if you will, in our Russell and Moore Lake projects that is owned and operated by Orano. And so you know when you have the kind of size of project collectively between Russell and Moore that we have, the geological prospectivity, you know you're on that main mine trend. You've got all the right ingredients for large high-grade deposits, and you're proximal to existing operations or soon-to-be new operations. It's the perfect mix of what you want to see when you actually make a discovery to unlock and create as much value as quickly as you can. And the other benefit of having the infrastructure, the road, the power lines, the exploration camp that we have at Russell, our drill costs are very, very low, about 350 all-in Canadian a meter, which is half of that of a lot of other exploration companies in the Athabasca Basin. So we don't have to raise as much money to drill quite a bit of meters, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And then on the prospect generator side, 37 projects. Can you remind us about the benefits and the advantages of that, the prospect generator model, but also what some of your partners are doing? You mentioned Orano, Terra Clean Energy as well, some of those programs.
So we've got currently nine partner companies. We'll be adding to this prospect generator business in the coming months, but currently 9 partner companies spending potentially over 70 million, as I mentioned. Again, half of that in exploration, the other half in cash and share payments. This helps. I mean, one of the big benefits is it helps keep the equity dilution in check, right? We've done one hard dollar financing in 5 years, and a big part of that is because we receive cash and shares from these partner companies to the tune of $1.5 million to $2 million a year. That can increase quite drastically as well in the coming years, as a lot of times these option payments and agreements are backloaded, so the cash and share payments actually increase later in the earn-in. In addition to Orano, I mentioned they've completed a drill program. Assays are pending from that. That'll be a potential catalyst for us at the Preston project. But we also saw Terra Clean Energy. They completed a multi-thousand meter drill program earlier this year. Some very interesting results there. They hit mineralization. There's a deposit there, the Fraser Lake Zone B deposit, that they were looking to expand. They stepped out and they hit some very, very interesting and good mineralization along strike, potentially expanding the deposit and opening up a new discovery near the deposit. And they're planning to go back there and continue drilling in the new year. URAX, which is there hasn't been a lot of news flow on this just simply because it's a private company currently going public. But we announced in the summer they commenced a drill program, a few thousand meters. They're wrapping that up, and we'll have assays from that. That's at our South Dufferin project, which, funny enough, Serdar actually worked at when he was at Denison, so knows the project quite well. And then North Shore is another company that has carried out some drilling at the Falcon project, which is adjacent to where Terra is at South Falcon East. And again, some really interesting initial results, plans to go back there in the new year. And then we have a couple of other partner companies, one still private called Hatchet, which is going public. We did a deal with them about a year ago, and they're going to be exploring a few properties that we've optioned or sold them. And then the other company, Mustang, which is a public company. They've done some initial work at the 914 project that we've optioned to them, and they do have plans to go back and likely be drilling at some point in 2026. So all of that to be said, it's a lot of information, a lot of partnerships, but the key benefits of the prospect generator business, one, the optionality value that it provides us and our shareholders. So if one of these partner companies drills a big hole, makes a big discovery, that interest, minority interest in the project that we will retain, maybe 20, 30%, an NSR, whatever the amount may be, is probably worth some multiple of our current market cap, without us having to go and raise any money to do the exploration, to pay for it all. That's on them to go and do that. Again, equity dilution, we can keep it in check with the cash coming in from these partner companies. The market typically doesn't necessarily value all of these partnerships and projects completely in the market. And we see that with a lot of pure prospect generator business. That's why we are very much set on a hybrid model where we're focused on our exploration at Russell and Moore, but then we have this added benefit of prospect generation. And the other great thing too is it allows us to work with other geological teams, provide some insights on the project. We generate a little bit of revenue as well directly from this, where we can offer geological services, help with the permitting. The camp, our exploration camp, it's centrally located around in between a number of these partner-funded projects, so we can rent that out. That's actually been generating a little bit of additional revenue for us in the last few years. So there's a list of reasons and benefits as to why the prospect generator business is beneficial. Again, probably not going to see the full value of it in the market. That changes very quickly with exploration success.
Okay, last question for both of you is to start with you, Serdar. What does the rest of the year look like in terms of catalysts early next year, and might we see a resource update at some point?
The rest of the year, we're just wrapping up our drilling program, and so it's going to be kind of just going through the data and receiving all the assays and press releases coming up. We'll probably multiple press releases over the next little while. For next year, of course, we're also getting ready for 2026. We've already started kind of identifying targets, like I said before, advancing old targets that we're going to be doing some geophysics and then essentially we'll be drilling them hopefully in 2026 or 2027. We're pretty excited about it because Russell, there's 35 kilometers of strike length that hasn't been touched. That's outside of the usual suspects, the Fork and FLT and MZE, et cetera. So we're actively working on those other trends that did have success in the past, and it just kind of got forgotten about. So we're at Moore Lake, like we talked about, the Nomad Zone. We're identifying new targets. That's 2 kilometers to the southwest of the Maverick deposit. It's a new zone that has huge basement and unconformity potential. We're seeing a lot of interesting structure and alteration that we hadn't seen anywhere else in that area before. So geologically, yeah, we're pretty busy identifying new targets and then just wrapping up this year's program. In terms of resource, I'm a resource geologist. I was in my previous life, so of course we're always looking at that. And if it's, we're always evaluating it, and I guess essentially we'll make a decision whether we're going to go forward with it or not.
The drill results are the main catalyst in the next 3 to 6 months. And as far as the resource goes, this hole that we drilled in the summer, 40-meter step out, very much changes the resource for us. And at the project, given that we've now found a new high-grade zone, 3+% in a 40-meter step out, and so the plan is to obviously incorporate that. We're wrapping up the drilling at Moore Lake currently, and we have some additional results that I think will that the market will be happy with, and so we want to incorporate all that. So we're planning to have that out in the new year, but we want to make sure that we've got all this drilling, especially some of this recent drilling that will add quite significantly to it. So drill results, resource estimate in 2026, and then obviously all the partner funded programs, right? We're going through our JV meetings and the various meetings with the option partners to see what kind of budgets, what kind of programs they're planning for next year. We're very encouraged thus far. I think it's going to be another significant year for these partners. And also we're working on a number of other potential property transactions. So keep an eye out for that. There will likely be some news out. And it's important to note too, we still have quite a bit of inventory, right? Properties that we have in our portfolio that we can look to monetize, we can look to option or JV out as part of our prospect generator business.
You're only working on about a third of them right now, basically. So excellent update, very thorough, very good, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay, Jordan Trimble of Skyharbour Resources along with Serdar Donmez.